Welcome back. 10 minutes before 8 here on the program. Joining us now is Dr. Michael Obeng, who is the only African plastic surgeon based in Los Angeles, California. And he has a reputation as being a surgeon to the stars. But I think this part of his reputation precedes him. He's a philanthropist and founder of R.E.S.T.O.R.E, which stands for Restoring Emotional Stability Through Outstanding Reconstructive Efforts, and provides free reconstructive surgery and related medical service in Africa to children and adults with disfiguring deformities from birth, accidents and disease. And let's chat to him now. Dr. Michael Obeng, good to have you. Welcome to South Africa. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So this is a fantastic initiative. It's been running now for over 10 years. What led you to develop this?
That's correct. You are absolutely correct. Growing up as a child in Ghana, where you had the first-hand witness of diseases and illnesses that were usually attributed to supernatural forces, such as witchcraft. Often at times we don't understand when a child is born with a deformity. We blame the little gods, the smaller god. We blame evil spirits. All these phenomena happens in the Western world. There are children being born every single day with cleft lip and palate, being born without arms, being born without fingers, being born with multiple fingers. All these can be explained by science. So as a child growing up in Ghana, witnessing all these diseases and illnesses and deformities, it wasn't until 1985 when Operation Smile came to Ghana that I witnessed firsthand the power of plastic surgery. I had a neighbor who had been burnt with acid. Her boyfriend at the time had poured acid on her face because she did not want to be with him. But this lady became a recluse. She stayed in the room. She never came out until Operation Smile operated on her. And I saw firsthand how plastic surgery can change a person. And from that day, as a little child in Ghana, I wanted to be a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
And fortunately enough, I had the opportunity to go to the United States to study, and just to see what all plastic surgery can do made me fall in love with the specialty, and ultimately with advice and mentorship from some of my mentors I admire, led me to forming R.E.S.T.O.R.E. And it goes back to all the way to 1997 when I first met Dr. Miller, who was a hand surgeon and a plastic surgeon. And Dr. Miller put the seed in my head. He said, Michael, you are from Ghana. Why don't we go to Ghana and do free surgery? At the time, as a student and ultimately as a resident working 120 hours a week, there was no time to breathe, let alone think about how you can go back to Africa and help people. But that seed never left me. I carried that seed with me until I was a fellow at Harvard. And that's when the name R.E.S.T.O.R.E came to me. I woke up in the middle of the night. I said, this is what Dr. Miller was talking about, R.E.S.T.O.R.E. So I wrote down the name, and then I had to make meaning to the acronym. And that's why Restoring Emotional Stability Through Outstanding Reconstructive Efforts came about.
And here we are, 10 years later.
Here we are, 10 years later.
Having performed, you were telling me, I was saying 500, but you have now performed over 700 free reconstructive surgeries, not only on the African continent, but on other continents as well.
That's correct. Since 2008, I've been to 7 different countries. We have performed surgery in about 5 of them, to a tune in excess of over 700 surgeries. The last year was our biggest surgery date, and the number of people that we helped. We did 76 surgeries or operations in Ghana alone last year. This year we are planning to go to Gabon. But if you put all the numbers together from Guatemala, Mexico, Nigeria, Ghana, Gabon, and Laos, these are 3 different continents. And in these 3 different continents, with over 100 volunteers, we have done over 700 surgeries. And if you were to put a monetary figure on these surgeries, we are talking in US dollars about $35 million, all free of charge.
Incredible. I mean, I think it's just such a, it is such a fulfilling thing to be able to do, to have the ability to do this. So at the moment you are here, not necessarily to be performing any surgeries, but you're here on sort of a visiting investigative tour so that you can eventually assemble a team to come back. So you're going to Nairobi and also to Gabon
Kampala,
again? And back to Gabon.
So this trip is, you're absolutely right. This trip is an exploratory trip. I have friends of mine here, my Jewish friends of mine, who last year I was in Joburg for 2 days, and they say, you know what, doctor, we need help as well. You can't just go take your tools and your friends and your people, your volunteers. So come to South Africa. So one of the reasons I'm here is, number one, to explore some other areas, hard-hit areas, areas that don't have the opportunity and the luxury of having plastic surgeons. And of course, I know South Africa is great, they have plastic surgeons, but of course, there are also people out there who cannot afford some of these things. And the government, of course, cannot help everybody. So the gap, we fill in the gap. So my trip this year, or this time around, is to explore areas. Also the same thing. I go to Kenya on a conference, Afro Initiative Boma conference, and while I'm there, I'm also looking at opportunities to partner up with hospitals. I was invited by Kenya earlier this year, in January, to bring a team. So, you know, I will kill two birds with one stone when I'm in Kenya. I will get to attend the conference, as well as look at hospitals where we can decide if it's adequate. We have to have certain basic infrastructure to be able to do what we do.
Yeah.
We can't just pick up our tools in our bags and bring volunteers to a country without, number one, doing our due diligence. You know, people trust me, that's why they follow me where I go. So for me to invite people to a country, at least I have to visit a country first, and at least I have to make sure that they have adequate facilities, because the goal is to help people. You know, you don't want to hurt somebody.
Indeed.
You want to make sure that the facilities are good enough so that nobody dies on the operating table.
How do you choose the recipients? I mean, there must be obviously a process. You get advised by people in the country, but how do you select the people, and can you operate in remote areas? Because to get the patient to a big hospital that has what you're talking about must be also quite a costly thing and quite difficult. Can you go into a remote area and perform a procedure?
Yes and no. So back to your question, two-part question. How do we select patients? The selection of patients is one of the most difficult things. So before we go into a country, like right now, our next country coming up is Gabon. We're going to Libreville. So this is an engagement that we just found out about a month ago. And we've been to Gabon 2 times. So it's much easier. We know the terrain. So to select patients, we first put out advertisement. We advertise that there's a group of volunteer doctors coming in town. Anybody with deformities, anybody who has reconstructive needs. So we partner up with local doctors. The doctors will then select the patient. They will see patient, they will send photographs, and we will look at the photographs and we'll see. So in a span of about 2-3 months, we will receive over 1,000 patients. 1,000 patients, I sit down and I'll go through every single photograph and I will see which ones we can safely help. The goal, like I said earlier, is to help people, because some of these cases are also so complex that they cannot be done in the host country. And in those extreme cases, we take these patients and we take them back to the United States if we can afford it.
Yeah.
Going back to remote areas, if we can do surgery. It depends on how remote the area is, and depends on what the infrastructure is. If they have a basic operating room, yes, we can. If there is no operating room, we've made makeshift operating rooms in the northern part of Ghana just to operate. But if we have a city that's not too far, we will send transportation. So we pay, you know, to bus all the patients and their families to the city that we are doing it. We will house them. And that's where the money that we raise, this is where the money goes. You know, the volunteers usually pay their own way. What Restor does is pay for the transportation for patients, medication for patients, and also just to feed the volunteers.
Fantastic. And you, of course, also help with the funding and put your own money towards it.
That's correct. To date, I've put over $300,000 of my own money in the course of 10 years.
Excellent.
And of course, I couldn't do it by myself, without friends of mine and without people who believe in what we are doing.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you for stopping by to chat to us. So just finally, when are you hoping to actually do these procedures? Will it still be in the course of this year?
So, no. So it's me being in South Africa this year, hopefully I'm planning for something next year.
Next year.
You know, and for those of us who wants to follow the story and also to know what we are doing, you can please go to our website, is www.restorworldwide.org.
Excellent.
RestorWorldwide.org.
Restore.worldwide.
Any penny helps. Any penny that anybody wants to donate, it goes to a great cause. It goes to restoring people's emotional stability. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michael Obeng, who is an African plastic surgeon based in Los Angeles, California. Also a great philanthropist, as you've heard, who's done reconstructive surgery for people with disfigurements. Let's go straight to your news now.